Well, hello guys, hope everyone's doing well. Well, I did it again. I had a viewer, name's Bud, he's from right here in North Carolina over in Eden, contacted me a couple of weeks back, said he had a Yaesu 101 station that he wanted to sell off. So we talked and come up with some prices, and I went ahead and bought the whole station that he had. And a lot of this equipment he bought new. I think the speakerphone patch he bought from at a Hamfest, and I think the monitor scope over there he had picked up from someone else. But anyway, he had the original boxes, and as you can see over here on this top of the speaker is a stack of manuals for everything, and we got some more accessories up in the boxes that we'll look at in just a minute. But as you can see, we have the Yaesu 101 EE, the FV-101B VFO, a YO-100 monitor scope, the landliner speaker. On top we got the YC601B digital display, and the 101 EE transceiver. Now he told me that there was some problems with the transceiver. Like I say, he got this thing new sometime in the 70s and have run it, I think, a lot on 80 meters and so forth, and he had a little issue with it. And I think one of the issues he said he had at one time was transmit receive got off. He got that fixed, and then later on the transformer started running hot, and you could hear noise in the receiver. Well, it was kind of like me when you get a problem like that. I've seen this before where the transformers run hot, and then actually the one of the windings inside start burning inside the transformer, and it just gets worse and worse over time and finally burns the transformer out. But maybe that's not it. I do have replacement transformers in stock for these, so every time I see some at a decent price, I go ahead and buy them and just put them up here, because, you know, I've owned several of these 101 radios, so always nice to have spare parts around. But Bud talked, you know, we talked back and forth, and he told me a lot of stories about his 80 meter adventures, and I think he's done several of the contests and awards that he's gotten over time. So he's had a ball with this thing through his lifetime. So let's get a better look at the equipment here, and I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of the best kept looking 101 stations I have ever seen. It is really in decent shape. So you know, we'll start over here with the speakerphone patch, and you can see the front of it doesn't have any scratches. The case on it is just about excellent. So we look at the display, and you can see it's in excellent condition. There's no wear marks around the controls or nothing. It looks really good. Looking at the 101 itself, it still has the plastic cover on it. All the lettering and stuff is attached. The case is in superb condition. There's no scratches or nothing on it. The only thing is that this trim ring on the top of it is missing the paint. So I don't know just what happened with that. Maybe something got on it, he tried to clean it, the paint come off, so he just went ahead and cleaned the rest of it off. Still got the paint around the sides of it, and you can see a little wear marks at the bottom where the paint is rubbed off under controls, and you know that's because of tuning, but at least the front panel is not messed up. But I have the matching paint if you repaint the whole bezel to make it look just about like it did before. But yeah, the radio looks really good. Looking at the VFO, again, excellent looking condition. The gloss on the front is fine. It does have the plastic behind it. It's not yellowed or anything. There's one little mark up here on the top of the cabinet that might buff off. I don't know. I'll have to try and see. And again, the monitor scope, the face is perfect. The bezel, the cabinet is just perfect on it. No issues whatsoever with the cosmetic. Down here on the bottom, the plastic on the front, it's got a little tear on both sides of the switches here, but other than that, it looks excellent. So here in this stack we got the maintenance service manual, and we have all the user manuals and information for each piece of equipment. Even the 101 user manual is in here. We have the original DC power cord. And in these boxes, there's two brand new 6J-S6C tubes. There's two brand new 12BY7A tubes. These are NECs. Here we have the Fox Tango 12BY7 tube, brand new. And inside this box is four more 6JE6C tubes, and all the tubes are brand new. Inside the bag there are some of the transistors from Fox Tango Group for the RF board. These are the Fox Tango RF transistors. There's several of them in there. Got some other modifications and stuff that was added. The 6B Xenon diode kit's been put in. That's the original 2SK19G RF transistor, and that's one of those Fox Tango transistors in there. There's another little packet in there with some more of those Fox Tango transistors. There's been two modifications done to the radio. One of them is there's been a coax connected to the IF board and run back here to the IF jack, so you can hook your band monitor scope up. And there's been a daughter board mounted on top of the RF board, and I think it's part of the second mixer stage. I haven't really looked at it that good. We'll have to get it out and take a look at it further. But yeah, I just couldn't I couldn't turn this station down. It's again, it's in very nice shape. If it needs a transformer, I got that. That's no problem. It just takes a little while to take the old one out and put the new one in. So we'll have to look and see that. And again, Bud shared a lot of stories with me over the past week or so through emails. And again, listening to his stories, he had a great time, just like everyone else I ever talked to that run these stations. So, you know, a big thanks to Bud for reaching out to me on this thing. Like I said, we had a great deal on it. So let's get on in and see, can't we get this 101 EE up and running like it's supposed to be. So, like I say, the 101 EE is the star attraction of this. Like I said, I did get the DC power cord, and after he got everything packed up and shipped, he noticed that he found the AC power cord had fell behind the cabinet. He found it down on the floor. So again, there you go. You can see the radio a little better. You know, it's just a little blemish there on the paint that might wipe off. I haven't even tried it. You can see the back of it is just in excellent condition. It's not even dusty. That's the other side of it. You know, it's just perfect. And you know, that's something that blows my mind, is you turn the radio over and it's got all the original screws in it. So yeah, that's something you just don't see on these radios. You know, got to think he bought this in 1976. It's got the accessory plug in the back. You can see how nice, pretty, and shiny that is. So the radio equipment has been taken great care of. So if I pop the top open, so you can look inside of it, you just don't see them that clean. I mean, it looks nice. Now, there's two mods that I've seen that was done. One of them, you can see this piece of coax cable. It comes from, I think, the modulation board, what it looks like. And it goes up here to one of the RCA jacks in the back. But it goes to the IF out. See it on the band scope. And the other mod is sitting on top of the RF board. There's another little board with an IC on it, and I'm not sure if it's tied to a mixer. There's very little information on it. There's some information in the bag. I got to look at it and find out just exactly what this little board does. It was using this thing, and the transmit and receive went out of line, so he had that straightened out, and he used it for 25 years, and then later on went to a different radio. But then he said that the transformer started running hot, and he had some noise in the receiver. And that's what we're interested in this video, is find out just what's causing this transformer to run hot. So we need to test that out and see if we can figure out what's going on. Now, I have seen that issue before, in fact more than one time, and in two of the instances it was the transformer itself, but in a couple of instances it was other components that was causing. So, you know, do we have a transformer going bad, or do we have something else causing the issue? Let's look in this thing and see if we can figure out what's going on. Now, I have mentioned several times in the past, when you buy old equipment like this, let's say that somebody was going to get the ham license and they found this at a ham fest or on the internet or whatever, or even by the original owner, said, hey, I got one I'm going to give you. And he goes home and he hasn't got his license yet, and he hooks this thing up to an antenna and he turns it on, and he's sitting there and he's listening, and after it's been on for a while, a big puff of smoke comes out and it blows the fuse. And usually that's what happens. It don't give you any warning. We already know the transformer was running hot. That is what the original owner told us was going on, was the transformer was running hot. So, I've already got in my mind things to look for. I probably can safely power this on for short periods of time just to verify what's going on. And we may do that. But, if you're going out and you're buying equipment like this and you're not a technician, I don't suggest just plugging it in and turning it on without doing some checks first. Because, even if there is something that's causing the transformer to run hot, and you're just in receive and the thing's working, something is going to go. It's not going to sit there and just keep running hot. It's going to eventually burn out and possibly take out other things. So, you know, you kind of got to use your own judgment on that. Just don't power it up and think you're ready to go. So I was sitting here, I got a notification on my phone that USPS had dropped off a package, and we can see sent the original power cord in, so that's a big help. I think I've seen these things, the whole power cords, for about 45 bucks on eBay, and just the connectors like $20–25 on eBay. But you know, sometimes you have to pay that price if you want to keep these old radios going. Now, you know, I could take the connector off the DC power cord and make an AC power cord, but you know, I'd rather not do that. Keep the DC power cord intact like it is. Probably won't never use it, but hey, we do have that option. So we'll take from what we got from the email saying that the transformer runs hot, and like I said before, it could be the transformer, or that could be something inside the radio causing this problem. Now, you know, we got the notorious C13 microcapacitor sitting over here on this side under the case that goes between the coupling capacitor between the driver and the final section. You know, they can short and cause all kinds of problems, but mostly you will see that during transmit. But this is running hot in receive. So if it's not the transformer, what could it be? Well, I want to go ahead and get the bottom off of this, and we're going to take a look at the schematic and see if we can narrow something down. You know, transformer's running hot and there's noise in the receiver. What can cause that? Alright, we got the bottom off the radio. I went here and took the shield off the bottom of the PA assembly so we can just look around in there. You know, one of the first things I see is this big power resistor here. I can go ahead and tell you it's not burnt, and the reason I can tell that is that the insulation cover is not discolored. There's a couple of big resistors under this trimmer board here that we just want to look at and verify that none of them are burnt or discolored. And yeah, looking at them, they look great. Now that's a shadow from that capacitor there. But yeah, none of them are burnt. They look perfect. The small one here looks good. And looking up underneath of it, I'm not seeing none of the screen resistors or nothing burnt. They look good. We see our shunts in good shape. That's not burnt. And here is that C13 microcapacitor that always goes bad. So that's going to need replacing if it's good or not. So you can see right here is that motor capacitor, the C13. That's the one that normally goes bad and wreaks havoc on the PA system. And just to make sure that it's not shorted, we're going to check across it and see if we get it open or short. and that's open circuit, so at least it's not shorted. Now if it's open electrically, that's not really going to hurt nothing other than that radio's not going to have no drive out. So everything looking pretty good under there. So I think we need to start with paying attention to the rectifier board. Now you can see our transformer here, we got two inputs at 100 volts. And on the secondaries, we got 12.6, 10.5, 9.5, another 9.5, another 10.5, 1.5 with center tap, 120 volts, 0, and your 240 volts, and this is where your high voltage is going to come from. Now, I really don't think this is going to be high voltage related, and the reason for that, normally when you have a problem in the high voltage, things happen. Nasty stuff happen. Blows fuse. You see smoke, you see burnt components, especially in the PA system or the PA section, and we're not seeing none of that on this. So I'm really going to put my thoughts more on the low voltage section. But anyway, if we come around the PA board, we got several outputs here, and we can check from here to ground and see if there's any shorts. That's our 13.5, minus 100 volts, 160 volts, 600 volts. So this comes off to 240, and those are going to be the ones that we're going to mainly focus on from what I've seen in the past. So you can see we're looking here at the rectifier board, and we can see our 10.5, our 13, another 10.5, 600, 160, and minus 100. So these are going to be the ones that we're going to concentrate on and see what kind of readings we can get. We're going to do some ohm tests to ground and see if anything stands out there. So with our voltmeter connected to the ground on the black lead, we're going to come here and check these outputs. This is 10.5 AC. Okay, we'll come here and check 10.5 AC, and we're getting a very, very low reading, and that's normal on an AC line. We'll check our 13.5, and you can see it's in the mega ohms. 10.5 AC should be low. 600 volts DC, we're in the mega ohms, so that looks good. 160 volts DC plus. Now that's not good. That is showing a dead short on that DC volt line. You'll get it on AC, but you shouldn't get a dead short on the DC volt line. And let's check our minus 100. And you see we're in the kilovolt range. But this one plus 160 volts is a dead short. So back to our schematic. There's our 160 volts out of the rectifier board. And see it comes here and it goes up and says 160 plus, and then it takes off and goes somewhere else. But if we trace this back, we're going to see there's one diode across it, and we trace back, we can see that 120 volt lead. So we should have about 35 to 45 ohms from that 120 volts to 0, and that'll tell us the condition of this winding in this transformer. So to get to that, it's going to be hard for me to show you in the camera, but right here is our 0 terminal, and right to the left of it, right there, is our 120 volt terminal, and we need to check across those two. So let me get a voltmeter connected to it. So I want to try to get this in the whole shot. I'll get the black on the 0 terminal, and then I should be able to come down here and get on the 120 terminal. And we got 35.9 ohms. Well, that's good. That's telling me that that winding in the transformer is good. Okay, so as I showed you up here on the schematic, we can see right here, I'll zoom in on it for a second, that was a 160 out. You can see it coming through this diode here, through this 120 volt lead. It comes on around, it goes out here too, and you see 160 out. So if we go up here to our tubes, you can see right here, that's the 160 volts in, and it comes up. There's a resistor coming off of it. That's one of those power resistors we looked at. But it comes right on up. And into the screen of the tubes. Now, unless the tubes have a direct short to ground from the screens, which I doubt very seriously that that's going to be the problem. Now, it's possible if one of them's gone nuclear and melted down, but with what I'm told about this radio, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be the issue. So I think, again, if we'll go back to a 160 line, and we just come up and follow it, slide the schematic down. But that line comes right on across. Comes right here, comes down to pin 6 of PB1547, and this is the regulator calibrator unit. So if we look at pin 6 and we come down, that's the onlyest thing there is two 22 microfarad at 250 volt capacitors in parallel. That could be the issue right there. So here is our regulator unit mounted right on the side of the PA cage, and we'll remove these two screws. And work this thing out. And there's our board. Alright, so looking at our board, we can see here pin 1 over here, pin 18. That's pin 6. There's nothing on this side. It's got a via going through the board. We'll come to this side. It's 4, 5, that's 6. And it comes up, and there's C18 and C19. Right here. That's these two big capacitors here. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to just take our voltmeter, and you know, if you read a capacitor with a voltmeter, it should basically read open. And look at there. That's a dead short. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just drop a little flux on this solder. and put some new solder on it so I can go ahead and remove those two capacitors. It's a little bit easier when you put fresh solder on them. Now I want you to think about this. I know I said in the past that I very seldom see capacitors in these radios go bad. But you know, they're good grade of capacitors, I will give them that. But we are looking at capacitors that are 48 plus years old. This radio was bought in 1976. And we know Yaesu made tons and tons of these radios. So, you know, they bought capacitors in bulk. So there's no telling how long they were sitting on the shelf. Alright, so let's see what we got here. And these are 22 at 250. Showing 27.53 microfarad at 0.042. Not too bad. Let's check the other one. Let's hope it's bad. I do notice this one looks very swollen on the bottom. And what do you see? Our meter cannot lock onto it. Yeah, I would say that one is pretty bad. So out with the old capacitors, in with the two new ones. We'll get this reinstalled back in. Then we're going to go back and recheck our connection. See if our short is gone. And if we're so, we're going to put some power on this rig for the first time. Alright, boards are installed. Alright, same as before. We'll go to ground and to the 160 volt line DC. Now we're reading in the kilo ohms. And that's what we're supposed to see. So if we go to the transformer, yep, it's still at 35.8 ohms, just what it should be. So that is looking good now. Okay, with that replaced, so what kind of issues would we expected if we tried to run this radio before finding that fault and fixing it? Now, I have not even turned the radio on or even looked at it. What y'all are seeing it for the first time as I am as we go through this thing. And probably what you would have heard, there would have been some noise in the receiver because we had no filtering on that 160 volt line. It was rectifying, so you would hear some AC noise in the receiver. Also, there was going to be no transmit. In fact, with that shorted, you wouldn't get any idle current because the voltage is at 0, so you cannot bring up no idle current to even power the tubes up correctly. So let's see, volume down, RF gains up, all this is in the middle, PA 20 meters, that don't really matter. We'll go ahead and rotate these down and we'll turn it on. so far, transformer's cold as ice.
That's the main city here, and about a mile from the river, and about a mile from the river Tyne, Tango Yankee, November Echo, the river Tyne. Tell us for sure, but I can't see the river, and I can't see the sea. Igualmente para ti, y que la haya pasado muy bien. Bueno, lo principal que es eso de mí, Luis, que tenía una semana escuchándome aquí. Say hi to... I thought I fixed it, and went in trying the electric bread saw, still nothing working. Well, he went across the pasture and he went out through... Yeah, 2.6 to 1. We're all 20, so it's not great, but...
Well, guys, I'm going to say this 101 EE has probably the highest receiver I have seen on a 101. A slow scan TV, 40/9.
And company calling CQ40, you must people call.
Ooh, that TV on 80 meters tonight. So guys, I'm real impressed over this radio. Not only it looks good, it seems to be receiving fantastic. I tried it on all the bands and listening, and it's excellent. Now here's something that I was looking at. I know y'all heard about the famous brown wire. Yeah, that's the brown wire, and it's never been clipped. Interesting. So guys, in the next video, I'm not going to get to it today, but we'll go through and look at the transmitter. Now, you know, with those two caps being shorted, and that driving the 160 down, I don't know what kind of shape the tubes are going to be in. If I don't know if he's ever tried to transmit on it or played around with it, trying to troubleshoot or whatever, you know. But we'll need to check out the transmitter and make sure our tubes are good and make sure everything is working on frequency. And another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and replace all the electrolytics in this radio, because I got plans for this one. I think this one and the station is going in the house, and that's where it's going to live at, because this radio is like I said, it's a very nice radio. But then after that, like I said, we'll get it recapped. We'll check out the transmitter. Now, here's the thing: if no one's been in there playing around changing the capacitors, you do not have to realign the radio. There's only just a few things that tells you to do in the service manual that you would do normally on just a standard maintenance and tune-up. But no, you do not have to go through and realign the radio after you replace the capacitors in these. One good thing about it, I've looked up here on the audio board, and I don't see any of the polyester or mylar capacitors that are split. They all look in pretty good shape. Alright guys, there you go. The FT-101 EE is up and running, and I will say this thing has a very hot receiver on it. I am getting a little noise, especially like on 15 meters here, and I'm thinking that's going to be capacitors that needs to be changed out. Now, one good thing about these 101s, as long as no one has been in there screwdriving these radios and getting them out of alignment, you can go in and replace the capacitors, and you don't have to worry about realigning anything. Just go ahead and replace the capacitors. That'll put everything back in spec where it was, and that should take care of it. Anyway guys, on the next video I'm going to go in and recap this thing, and we're going to do some other maintenance, look for different problems and so forth, and get this thing back to like it was when it was new. And this station is going in the house, and this is going to be probably my main station in the house. And if you remember back last year, I had put this big new roof on the house. It's all metal with that steel, and we're going to use that steel roof as a counterpoise, and we're going to run that screwdriver antenna that I got as the antenna in the house, and we'll see how that does. But I think we got ourselves a good radio here. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. There'll be more coming out, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.